Another week, another puck pod by BD Sports here. I'm Christian. I've got Dave with me.
What's up?
Do the normal routine here. How was your week,
Yeah.
Dave?
Um, long. I forgot like what we did this week. We had some pretty entertaining stuff this week in our program. Me and Christian actually got to be a part of, I would say it's both of our first like scrums.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so that was an entertaining assignment for us to do. We got to speak to Jennifer Redenbach, who is the media co she's the media coordinator for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and hearing about her job was crazy because it's like not only does she work for the team that me and Christian love the most, but she also puts in that work, dude. She is like that position is, I don't know if you felt the same way, Christian, but man, do they do quite a bit. And hats off to her for literally being on top of it like all the time. Like I don't think I've ever there's not once where as the public we notice that like she's kind of always behind the scenes, you know what I mean? Like she's one of the unsung heroes I think of MLSC, and also for all 32 NHL teams when they have somebody in that position, they are some of the unsung heroes around the league. So let's just give our credit to them. I don't know if you have anything else you want to say about that situation there.
No, she was definitely awesome to speak to. Gave great insight for her job, the industry, and yeah, definitely like a lot of respect for what she does, the hours that she puts in. Eye-opening for sure, and definitely like from our end, that experience was really interesting too. It was definitely nerve-wracking.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I
just
didn't
basically
sleep.
there was,
I,
yeah,
I
no,
like
my
I
sleep
did not
wasn't good
sleep that
either.
night.
I got 3 hours of sleep. That was just from exhaustion of actually no, that was the night after because we had to do stuff after that. We had to make a story out of that scrum. But there was eight of us and like we were all very nervous. It was like, oh, you go first, you go first, you go. It was very funny in that sense. But a cool experience. Cool to be able to do that like in a closed environment as opposed to imagine Dave, we were just like out in the field and having to
Oh
do that.
no,
Doesn't
there's
matter
no
who it
way.
is. It could be literally like a dad at local hockey rink. I would still be nervous as hell, like first
Terrifying.
scrum, whatever. You know what I mean?
I
But
I think as we eased ourselves into like not even ease, like we jumped right into the deep end for the most part. But as soon as we started getting like our feet under us and like our bearings under us, I kind of felt like a lot I got my air of confidence about me where I'm like,
yeah,
at the end of the
you
day,
just had to
this
get
is
one question out. As soon
yeah.
as you spoke something, the nerves went, right?
My like the thing in my head that always like kind of grounds me is like this is just another person. Like this person is giving up their time to talk to us. Let me just ask my question that I
Yeah.
want to ask. You know what I mean?
What did our prof say, Dave? What was the quote? They're just as full of shit as you. Is that the
Yeah, yeah, that is the quote.
everybody's just as full of shit as you. So
That
there's
is
nothing to be worried about when you interview somebody. I think that
you're
was the
right.
quote.
I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing else really to add for our week. We've got another busy week coming ahead. It's tough to really transition to anything other than this. This is the headlining topic for the week. And yeah, it is related to the World Junior Championship 2018, the Canadian junior hockey team sexual assault scandal. We had new details arise from this, not even details, but just clarity from the London Police Department regarding calling for the surrender of five individuals. And that happens this week as five players, four in the NHL, one overseas. They have say have requested personal leave. They did happen to play for this team, but other than that, there's really no information, no conclusions can really be drawn. And we even got clarification on this from Elliot Friedman last night, who basically said, in terms of clarifying, there will be no more clarifying for a long time. This is obviously a criminal investigation. We're talking about laws, we're talking about allegations, accusations, and everything is basically under the gun when it comes to this. There could be players who are subpoenaed that are called into court. There's a lot going on here, and for those reasons, there's not going to be much clarification on any of this for a long time. This could be in court. We're talking a months on months timeline here. It's really obviously every time that this is brought up, it's disheartening because it just takes you back to when we first learned about this, some of the details, all that stuff. But the story's not going anywhere for a while. You have anything to add for that, Dave?
I just want to give a not even a shout out, but just keep the I believe it's the plaintiff. That's the woman who had this situation happen to her. Just keep her in your thoughts and in your minds going forward, because she's going to have to relive um these events going forward with the way that these proceedings take place. Um so it's going to be very tough for her. Just keep her in your mind. And also don't go after, if we don't know what we don't know, there's a reason why we don't know. Don't attack people just on the basis of allegations, basically. I have seen a little bit of that where, yes, there is that situation there, but we also don't know 100%. And until we know 100%, that's when maybe you could start throwing around some names. So just be wary of that, and keep the the victim in your thoughts and prayers going forward.
100%. Another shout out on that, to that point. Robin Doolittle, the reporter for Globe and Mail, who broke this story first. She did great work on this occasion. Rick Westhead's done a lot with this story. There's a lot of good reporters that are doing a lot of good work on this. So keep an eye on those names, for more details going forward. Other
100%.
than that, we'll move forward to some other controversial stuff on the ice. Brendan Gallagher, 5-game suspension for his hit on Adam Pelech. This is, I feel like every time we talk suspension, I say the same thing. This is straightforward. I don't know. It's a bad hit. It's the chicken wing. The puck is actually gone by the time he makes
Yeah.
the hit. It's
Mhm.
not good. There's no like defense you can come up with for Gallagher other than that he's a first time offender, but that's not really a saving grace. That's just a factoid you want to throw
No,
around, I guess. Like
listen, man, we've seen first time offenders get the book thrown at them. But
say the name. Who's the leaf? Who's the leaf?
well, I mean, Mr. Thousand plus, I think it was like thousand, he must have been like just over 1,000, like maybe 1,200 games by the time this incident happened. But Jason Spezza, you know, gave, I think
I
it was
always
Neil
bring yeah.
Pionk. It gave
It was
Neil
Neil
Pionk like
Pionk,
a
the
flying knee.
flying. Yeah, that's always the one that comes to mind, and it was a
That
6-game
is,
suspension for that. So
listen, at the time, I was like, Jason, but also you understand that where the 6 games come from. Now, I don't want to pick
if that's
apples.
so, just the
Yeah,
thing though, like if that's like Tom Wilson doing that exact same thing that
a
Spezza did,
26.
like the world burns, right?
Yeah,
Like everyone's like,
yeah.
oh my God, this guy's a murderer. He's got
If
to be
he
out of the league
only gets
because it
six
was Jason
games,
Spezza. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. If
it,
if
it
Tom Wilson gets 6 games for that hit, or even this hit on Brendan Gallagher,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I think there might be like a rip in like the time space like black hole. Like
Continuum.
that's what would come out. Like uh in this case, I don't think that there's a defensible argument against not suspending Brendan. I was about to say Brad Marchand, but it's Brendan Gallagher. Same thing, same person. That's who they
Freudian
are.
slip.
In my mind, that's who they are. As a Leaf fan. Um I didn't see anybody trying to defend the hit either. Like Habs fans are some of the most notorious and like raw, rambunctious group of fans that we have in the NHL. And even they were like, yeah, they understood. Just like how
Yeah,
I don't think we were on this podcast for that Jason Spezza hit, right?
no.
But we were talking, maybe. I don't know. I kind of remember getting
I
both
think
like,
we did what we did like right now. We bring it up in reference to something. You know what I mean?
yes. Okay. So that
Yeah.
was that. That was that. I just remember the Jason Spezza hit in particular. Seeing
Pretty
that
sure that
happen
was
and
during
being,
COVID. So like there was no
yeah,
fans there.
you're right.
Which
You're
is
right.
if there was fans in the arena for that, that's another
Yeah.
interesting detail.
Just like replaying that hit in particular, I'm like, yes. as a biased
Yeah.
Leaf fan as they come, yes, that's a suspendable hit. And I think the Habs fans had the same type of they had the same thought
Yeah.
going into this.
For those who haven't seen it, just to describe the play, Adam Pelech's exiting the defensive zone, crosses his own blue line. Brendan Gallagher's cutting from the opposite side of the ice. He's tracking him the whole way. He actually holds his stick out to block a pass. And as soon as Pelech makes that pass and Gallagher doesn't block it, he switches from holding two hands on his stick to immediate chicken wing, clips him in the head. And that's that. So it's a very, there's no nuance really to the play. There's nothing secret to look at in slow motion where it's like, oh, he actually got shoulder first, then the head came down. Like there's none of that. There's none
Yeah,
of
there
that.
was there was no like, did he jump off the ice? Which I
Where
I
was the
did see a
primary
little.
point of contact? Like
I
that
saw a little.
talk.
I saw
Yeah.
a little bit of lift off. I don't know. Like you could see like the white under the skates,
He's a
basically.
smaller guy. He's got to get a little bit of
Yeah, Pelech's a big guy
airtime. No,
too. He's not a small guy
Pelech is a big
either.
guy.
He's a big
Yeah.
dude, so you probably need a little bit of
Any problem
force.
with the actual number? 5 games as opposed to 3, 4, 6, or is 5 cool? I
Listen,
honestly, coming into it, I thought 3. I thought that's what
oh
they were gonna give, but like I have
yeah,
no qualms with 5. Like 5
I
is good.
I've seen people like crying and screaming that it was only 5 games. Uh, Here's the thing. We could argue of whether it was 1 or 10. At the end of the day, until the NHL decides that they want to step up and look professional, they will set a precedent for these types of hits. And I get gray area. I get all that, like all the um everything going back, like in argument for suspend a suspension like that. I get it 100%. But you've got to have a precedent here. Like, there's no way guys could get away with something like that. Like, here's the thing: the NHL likes to just pick and choose as they please. George Peros does this. Brendan Shanahan used to do this as well. Let's not forget, it's been the way that the NHL Department of Player Safety has been run for as long as I could remember, where they're like, oh, we'll take history into account for this hit, but there's no real history here, so maybe we don't take that. That's not how you run. Like, listen, we were just talking about criminal proceedings before, and I'm not gonna sit here and make the argument that those two are the same, but there's a reason why the criminal courts have their own process for doing things. The NHL needs to have something similar, a process. That's all I'm looking for, is a process as to how you came up,
Consistent.
a consistent process with how you came up with your decision, because it really just looks to me like you have a dartboard in front of you and you're 3 games, 4 games, 2 games, fine, even though $5,000 fine does nothing to some of these guys, right?
Maximum allowable under the CBA. I want to see a fine. Can we get a fine that's the minimum allowable under the CBA? Where's
Yeah,
those
what is
fines? Can I see
it's
the
a
two
what, a
dollar fine?
dollar? The dollar
Yeah, I
fine
know.
for what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. We'll go from one rat on their respective team to the worm, Corey Perry. We're talking more Corey Perry. He's joined the team, and god damn it, it's the 16 game winning streak Oilers. God damn it,
I think it was the
Dave.
15 or 14 at
Uh
the time when he joined. So
yeah, I think it was 14.
it's I
Um,
think I think that's notable because he joined. I don't know if he suited up for win 15, but he did suit up for game 16, win 16.
yes,
And
yes, he
that,
did.
I think, is a telling sign that, if they had lost the game, I believe it was last night or yesterday afternoon for us,
Predators.
if they had lost that game, I don't think Corey Perry's time in Edmonton goes as smoothly as people might have expected. Because there's always going to be that shadow looming above his head where it's like he could have signed at maybe like let's say game 10, right? And you don't get it to this number. Like, they're so close to reaching to tying the record at least. And if he joins
Yeah,
just before they even get a chance to tie it and they lose, oh, dude. Corey Perry seems like the professional to me, so I don't know if he'd let it affect him too much, but that there will always be that thought in a lot of Oilers fans' minds and maybe even some Oilers players' minds as well.
All right. Just to focus on Perry there, the contract they ended up signing, it is league min 775K. It does come with some bonuses available. 225K bonus for 10 games played, 50K if Edmonton wins the second round of the playoffs, or plays in 50% of the games in round two, or 50% of the total games in round one or two. That's a long one. 50K if they win in the third round of the playoffs, and the same stipulations on that one. It's a lot of stipulations going on, but the bonuses I think only go up to like 350K total. So it's a very cheap deal. I am surprised by that because I thought like just for Leafs purposes, I didn't see us being able to give bonuses because we hate doing that. I couldn't tell you the last time we did that, to be honest.
Well, dude,
At least
even
like on a 35 plus contract.
yeah, even bonuses like that takes them up to what's that about what if they add another 300K onto that
You're
775, right?
talking Yeah. Well,
In
so
terms
like
of
I said, the 350K though, it doesn't apply to this year. So if he hits those bonuses,
yeah,
those all go on the cap for next year. So it's 70, 75 through and through for this year.
yeah,
But the reason this bonus matters for the Oilers is they already have Connor Brown's $4 million bonus on next year's cap.
yeah.
So you put that together, every bonus money is going to count towards next year. That's not good. It's not good for the Oilers. I'll be very curious to see how they handle that. So yeah, I just want to lay down the contract there. He was playing on their third line as of last game. That's with Dylan Holloway and Ryan McLeod.
Is he playing
You can,
above Connor Brown?
yeah, Connor
Wow.
Brown is on the fourth line,
Wow.
4 assists in 38 games, doesn't have a goal yet. So
Wow.
yeah. On the win streak, do you know who the Oilers play next?
I believe it's the Knights, Golden Knights, right?
It is the Vegas Golden Knights. It
Team
is
that
after
dumped
the
them out of
All-Star
the
break.
playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be going down February 6th in Vegas, where they can tie the record. It's just Pittsburgh that has 17, right?
Dude. Yeah,
They
it's
stand alone right now
17.
at the top.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
they're tied with Columbus. Dude, I just realized their Vegas is not gonna have Jack Eichel in the lineup. How crazy would that have been?
Damn
One
it. That would have been really
former
nice.
one versus former two.
Yeah.
Uh, and former one's going for at least tying the all-time win streak record. So
Do you know who their opponent is if so let's say they win that game. Let's do the hypothetical. They beat Vegas. Who do they then play for a chance
so
to set the record?
I saw a lot of people talking about the opponents that the Oilers have faced have been kind of lackluster. There was a couple Chicago games, San Jose was in there, Anaheim was in there. You got to beat them. Listen, at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
I don't care.
it's
Like
how the
that's not
schedule goes.
it's
So
not an excuse.
I was gonna make the joke like, oh wow, is it another bottom feeder? But I don't think it is because they genuinely played all of the bottom feeders recently. I don't think any of them are like they could play any of them. So I
Well,
don't know.
Dave, off the top rope, here I come. It's the Anaheim Ducks.
Dude, my guess was gonna be like the Avs or something. It was gonna be like
Yeah,
a
no, it's
proper team after Vegas.
it,
Oh
it, the
man.
whole spiel, but yeah, it's another bottom feeder. It's the
Ah,
Anaheim
damn,
Ducks in
damn.
Anaheim, the 17th, 30 and 2 Anaheim Ducks, who I think are bottom five in the league right now. So,
I think they're bottom
but
three.
it's still, I honestly, I do think they set the record. I will say, I do think they do it.
Well,
Obviously,
their biggest test is coming, right?
yeah, yeah.
That
Especially because
is
it's not a home game. Like if that was a home game, the crowd is bringing the heat, they're bringing the
Mhm.
energy to the building.
I
But
I
against
think it's gonna be
Vegas,
the
it's a different
opposite.
story.
I think
Yeah,
the Vegas fans are gonna know, like,
yeah,
hey, we lose, we're on the wrong side of history here, right?
yeah.
So
So
they might
I
bring the heat
honestly,
as well.
I feel like they actually have it in them to like hit 20. Like I think they have that type of focus right now. Now
Mhm.
it does suck that like this comes during the All-Star break, kind of derails momentum. But I actually think they have it in them to hit 20. I think that they're just so locked in right now. They're
Yeah, they
very
do.
locked in.
They do
We
they
talked about the Jets 3 games or less streak. They're already up to 17 now, the Oilers. Just like that.
wow.
And that's saying something for the Oilers defense and goaltending that we were punishing into the ground. Forget this year for like the past 3, 4 years. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. We're actually gonna do some Leafs now, opposed to ending the
Later.
show. We're gonna save some All-Star stuff for after our break. So we're gonna do some Leafs talk right now.
Let's do it.
Specifically, I want to talk about some goaltending, Dave. Let's talk about Ilya Samsonov. Ilya Sam, son of a bitch,
Dude,
son of a gun. I'm not gonna say it. Not gonna say it. I'll say it.
if there is any worse time to have an extended break in the NHL season for Ilya Samsonov, it is at this current moment. How many
Counterpoint
goals?
though,
Okay,
the
go.
whole reason he's been so good since coming back is because of a break.
That is
So
very true. It's just
I'm on
the
your side. Like
fact.
I do agree.
Yeah.
Like I the break does come at a bad time for him, but that's how he's got to be thinking, and that's how the Leafs got to be thinking.
How many goals has he allowed since coming back from the Marlies
I think
conditioning
he's played
stint?
like I'm assuming he's played like 3 games. I want to say he's let in like maybe 6. So
I
two
think
goals against average.
I
Like
think it's like 4 games, it's like 6 goals, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken, or 7 goals, because he allowed 2 yesterday. That might have been his highest total, like of goals allowed in like a month,
yeah, yeah. So
or at least ties with that, right? Like he has,
yeah,
and it's not just the wins and the say like the numbers basically. Like you could look at the numbers. Game against Seattle, right? That was last Sunday, so the day after we recorded. Um, Last Sunday he plays Seattle. He stops 18 shots. How many of those shots would you have said were grade A opportunities?
no. So that game I thought was pretty similar to the Detroit game where he was good, but it was not the star-studded like great saves that he bailed us out with or anything like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I
yeah.
thought those two games are similar.
He had,
Moving forward though,
I would say even in that game, he had
oh
just really good positioning.
yeah,
The team defense helped him out quite a bit, I would
which
say,
but like
right?
that's what
Good.
we want.
That's what you're supposed to do, right?
That's what we
And
want.
in the very few opportunities where he was called upon to make grade A plus saves, he delivered, which we weren't getting B saves before, but now we're getting B saves from Sammy, A saves from Sammy, and A plus 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 saves from Sammy. Like the guy
Yeah.
has been a wall.
These 2 games against Winnipeg, they got to be top 5 regular season games from him as a Leaf,
Yeah,
right?
I
Especially that first game, the one
top of
nothing
my head, yeah.
overtime win.
Hmm.
Um, the
Dude, he
that's
had
we're already
5.
talking like save of the year stuff with
I
the
think he had
2-0.
he had 6 genuine grade
Yeah,
A plus saves in that
yeah,
game.
and like Cuthbert last night on the call was all over the place. Like it felt like he was gonna run out of breath when we were talking about plays in our zone. It's like another
Yeah.
save by Samsonov and another
Yeah.
save. Like
Very
it was a lot.
frenetic pace. Very
Yes,
frenetic
yeah.
yesterday.
So listen, what Sammy showed us since he's come back has been incredible. I did not see this coming. I thought he was long gone for at this point, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Hmm.
Um, and the Leafs now are going to find themselves in a bit of a dilemma. It's a good problem to have, though. It's nice to have too many good goalies because we got 3 of them. Dave,
Yeah.
are you ready for the Maple Leafs to carry 3 goalies? Because I don't think they have
I
any other choice.
I think they have the space to do so. So if you have the
They
space to
do.
do so, why don't you? You know what I mean?
So
Like, is there a
the
need?
reason they have the space to do so is because of injuries right now,
Yes.
right? That's why
Yeah.
they're gonna have the space. Gallagher and
So
Croak week to week, broken knuckle in
yeah.
practice. So
John
that
Klingberg's the big
gives us
one,
the
right?
chance.
$4 million.
Yes, I'm not even saying from a cap perspective though. We gotta in terms of a
Oh, you're saying in
23-man
terms of
roster.
yeah, okay.
So in terms of a roster spot, I believe right now we also have McMahon is on IR as well now, so that factors in here too. Um, if they put Yarn Croak on NLT IR, we would have the space to activate Wall and carry 23. Because yeah, right now, like if Wall were to come off of IR, someone else has to move. Either has to be sent down or traded or on IR. So they're gonna have some juggling to do. But like is waiving Martin Jones an option? Like I understand his last 2-3 games before coming out of the lineup haven't been as great as they were when he started. But even in those games, yeah, he let in some fluky ones. He let in some softies. But I still don't think the value you get out of or the value you would lose in having Martin Jones available is worth putting him on waivers. I don't think
100%.
they can do that.
Dude, let Mart as much as you want to let Sammy run out, like just run out there and get back to his best and tear shit up. Give Martin maybe another game just to see if you still have something there. I don't think like you don't need to rush back Joseph Wall if you have both of those goalies at the very least giving you B+ performances night in, night out. If you get
Yeah.
80% from both of those guys every single game, you don't have to rush Joseph Wall back until he's 110% healthy.
Yeah. That's the big thing for me because say you get him back and it's a high ankle sprain and he's got a bit of a setback in his first game, he tweaks something, but you just put Martin Jones on waivers and he got claimed.
Yeah.
You're calling up
Then you're shit out of luck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you want to guard against.
Right
If
now,
it really came down to it,
let Wall
sorry,
be
go ahead.
your backup plan for right now. He's not going to be your
Yeah.
backup plan for the future, right? You want him to be 100% for the rest of his time in Toronto, and the best way to do that is by giving the other guys the share of the net right now.
Yeah. If it came down to it, we have a couple options if we need to make roster space for let's say Yarncroke or Bobby McMahon comes back early. We're in a roster crunch. We got to do something. I'm not opposed to waiving Bobby McMahon. I know that a lot of people like him. I
like him
too, but
I like him on the fourth line, but how much
I've
can you
referred to
like
him
a
as
fourth liner?
he's the most fourth liner to ever fourth line, and
Yeah,
you can replace
correct.
that. Like, how different does Steve's look in that spot? Does Abruzzese look in that spot? Right.
Yeah.
So, if they had to waive him, I'm not losing sleep over that. Holmberg is still waiver.
See, he's
free.
somebody. He's waiver exempt.
He's yes, he's waiver exempt. He doesn't deserve to get waived. I'm not saying that
Yes.
he doesn't
Yeah.
deserve to get waived, but there's been lots of times where we've had players who don't deserve to get waived for cap reasons.
Yeah.
So you have that. You have Lagesson still on the big roster. I feel like we forget about him.
Connor Timmins as well.
Connor Timmins, that was the one I was going to come up to. I feel like we might be getting to time to trade him territory.
Listen,
Yeah.
I think what Connor Timmins
I'm a Connor Timmins fan.
I am too. From what I've seen from Connor Timmins, the guy offensively he's
really good.
He's very, very good. He is very underrated with some of the stuff he does. Like the way that he can transition the puck and the way that he walks the line is
that's exactly what I was going to bring up. Walking the line.
He can do it. For
and you're gonna like him too offensively is he does the beaver tap. He does the stick tap. He's not afraid to ask for the puck.
Yeah. No, I know. I like
He's
that.
confident with it,
Very
and
confident.
I do like that a lot.
For a guy especially who has had the career that Connor Timmins has, there are a lot of guys who would probably shelter and like curl up into their own thoughts. Basically, Connor Timmins doesn't look to be that type of guy.
He's anti Jake McCabe.
Opposite Jake. Yes. Okay.
He's anti Jake McCabe.
I thought you were gonna say Jake Gardner because I was like, I've seen some turnovers from Connor Timmins, and I had flashbacks 100%. There.
He's anti Jake McCabe. When I want McCabe to not touch the puck, that's when I would like Timmins to have it. And so it's and then Timmins does some galaxy brain stuff defensively that you're like, that's not you. That's not you. Stick to you.
Yeah, so stick it simple.
I was gonna say, I wonder if we should put them together, and then I'm like, yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely don't put them together as a pairing.
That's literally that's like a terrorist like pairing right there. Like that's who can turn over the puck the most in per 60, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, no, definitely not the way to go. All I'm saying is we do have options, and I do think the Leafs are going to have to carry 3 goaltenders. I don't think Keefe is going to be a fan of that. I don't think the fans are going to be a fan of that. I think every time a goalie has a bad game, we're going to say it's because they've got 3 goalies. They need 2 goalies. You need to keep them.
No,
you need to keep Jones up.
How many teams over the past few years have we seen, like just last year in particular, right? Ran a 3 goalie,
So The
Trifecta.
one that comes to mind right away is Carolina.
Yep.
Freddie, Ranta, and Kochetkov.
Hmm.
Spoiler alert: Carolina's a good team.
Yep.
Good teams do it, and they do good stuff. So guess what? Maybe the Leafs should give it a try.
Well, even last year,
Um,
did Vegas not run Aiden Hill,
I'm trying. I
Logan
was trying to remember
Thompson?
who the third was, and I could not remember who the third was.
There is a third
Was it
goalie there.
Quick? It was Quick
No, it
in the
might have been.
playoffs. It was
It
Quick,
might have been Jonathan
and
Quick.
no. Okay. Oh my God.
No, they ran
No,
four
you know what
because
happened?
Jonathan Quick and somebody else. There was somebody else there.
Brossois. Brossois.
Laurent Brossois, dude. Cup
Yeah.
winner, Laurent Brossois.
I was the one to say,
Good for
spoiler alert,
him.
the Golden Knights won the cup. So
Yeah, they did.
yeah.
Now,
Okay.
granted, a lot of that was due to injury. Like that, like
Yeah.
Logan Thompson went down. I'm pretty sure Brossois went down. They had to rely upon Aiden Hill, and they went out
Well,
to go
he
get
showed up big time.
Jonathan Quick for goaltending insurance depth, right? Like Jonathan Quick ended up being the fourth goalie on that list by the time the Knights won the Stanley Cup last year.
Yeah.
Which is crazy
So
that Jonathan Quick has 3 Stanley Cups and he basically was just they were like have fun, just
well,
go out
because
there,
where was
be your
he before
best.
Vegas? Where was he before Vegas?
He's in LA, right?
No,
Oh, he was
between
in
LA and
Columbus.
Vegas.
He was in Columbus. I forgot
Columbus,
about that.
man.
Yeah.
Columbus. So yeah, that's a really interesting story there, man. Okay. Off of goaltending, because I do think this is worth bringing up. I thought Simone Benoit last night was goddamn phenomenal. Like I was
Finally,
really keying in on
yeah.
him. I don't know how much time on ice he had. I would guess it was over 20. I noticed
Yeah.
him a lot.
If
I
it
noticed
if
him
it
a lot.
wasn't over
I
20,
gotta
it's
pull it up.
above
Yeah.
18. Dude, Simone Benoit, if there's
He's a
one Leaf,
goddamn butcher.
if there's one Leaf who's been more deserving of getting a goal recently, it's tied for
Yes.
him
Yes.
and Tyler Bertuzzi, who
Yeah.
should have had a goal. We should have
I
got two
had
of
him for
them.
Tim's too, man. I had him
Oh,
for Tim's.
you made the right pick because that was a goal. We
The
could get
goal,
into
the
that.
refs,
We don't
man.
have to get into that because I
Yeah,
don't
we're
want
not
to
going
talk
to.
about the refs after a great
Ref
win.
talk is not fun.
But man, holy Simone. And I'll say another thing. I noticed Simone Benoit, but I noticed, you know who else I noticed quite a bit? And,
Tell
okay,
me.
here and there he was like thing, but TJ
Defense or forward? Okay.
Defense. TJ
Okay.
Brody, TJ Brody was looking more like TJ Brody than he has been over the past month, let's say. I
Yeah.
would say for a bit longer, but at the very least, when he's been highlighted over the past month, last night, guy was doing his thing. He was throwing himself in front of the puck. He was, you know, he was just keeping it simple. Some like for the most part. If he keeps it simple, that's it. That's all I'm asking for. I don't need TJ Brody, the thinking he's a Norris winner. There's a couple
It's
other
not even usually that with him. It's usually some defensive like just
just
an
gaffes.
oopsie or just
Yeah,
like he goes like blind in one eye and can't see someone where they're like
yeah,
standing right in front of him. That's what it usually is with him. He doesn't usually galaxy brain offensively, but yeah, like I will say I noticed him in that I didn't notice him, which is good
he's
with
very
TJ
good.
Brody, right? That's
Yeah,
what you want with him. And to your point, he played 21-23 last night, second highest on the team. Jake
that's
McCabe played
TJ.
21-50. TJ.
Wow.
Jake
Okay.
McCabe 21-53 to lead the team. Morgan Riley only at 20-21. I love to see that because it's great that we're not taxing him.
Hmm.
I guess that does make sense because the power plays were very much not in our favor in the game.
We had quite a
So
bit
that
of penalty killing to do. That's for
yes,
sure.
quite a bit of PK, which he doesn't get in as much on. Liljegren at 1849.
I think
Simone
also
Benoit.
dude had a I thought he
I
had a very good game.
I thought once again with him, I didn't notice him really too much offensively, but defensively, I couldn't point out a mistake that he made.
No.
So
And what there was a couple times defensively, I think he lost the puck one time in the offensive zone and he was able to recover so quick to just
yeah,
I forget who he pickpocketed. It was somebody at center ice and he just made it look so easy. I was like,
yeah.
"Oh my God, that is the Timothy Liljegren that we were promised." And I think he's even delivering a bit more. As much as I'd like to see a lot more offensive impact, at the
I
very
do need the
least,
offense, and
at the very
I'll
least, if he's
yeah,
giving us defensive impact, I'm fine, cool with
yeah.
that for right now. just
So here,
yeah, go.
on that note, before I go back to Benoit, so we talk about the offense, like why I want it from the Lundgren, even though he's been really good defensively, and I think he's looked great. Um, the Maple Leafs defense combined for 8 shots. Okay. I haven't checked yet the Jets. I'm willing to bet the Jets probably had 14,
15.
15 shots from their blue line. Their
Yeah.
blue line is not afraid to shoot the puck. Every single defenseman on that blue line shoots the puck, and it makes a huge difference. They scored their first goal from the
But
blue line.
Andy Samberg
They're
or whatever that guy's name
yeah,
is.
yeah, Andy Samberg, Dylan Samberg.
Dylan
You're making me
Samberg.
honestly forget
Yeah.
the guy's name for
Yeah,
real
it's
though. But
Dylan.
yeah,
It's Dylan.
yeah. Listen, that makes a huge difference
Yeah.
offensively, Dave.
Oh
Were you
yeah.
not threatened by the Jets' defense last night? You
Yeah,
were
dude.
scared by it.
Anytime I saw Josh Morrissey lift up his
Yeah.
stick, I'm like,
Yes.
guys, somebody
God
just put your
damn it.
body in front of
Yeah.
that.
So listen, man, when I come down on the Leafs need another offensive
Yeah.
defenseman. I know we suck defensively, but when you need someone who can actually do
Yes.
that, that's why. And that was a great
Timothy
example of
Liljegren.
why. Timothy Liljegren, I need to see it more from him though. I need to see it
Yes.
more from him, and I need to
That's
see it
what
work
that's
because not
exactly what
often
I
do you
mean.
feel, yeah, like
Yeah.
not often do we threaten other teams from the blue line. It's not very often at all.
And
Guys are too, they
listen,
pick their spots. This is a little hypocritical for me because I talk about McCabe letting it loose offensively,
he is
but
the
it
only
isn't
one that
because it's
does.
about. But you know what though? Like you need the staff that can actually do it. I don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know how hard it should be on McCabe or Keefe for him trying too much offensively, but that's why you need other guys who can do it,
Yeah.
right?
Like Timothy
So I hope
Liljegren
Lily's that
should
guy.
be
He
Timothy
should.
Liljegren should be on that list of like if
He
it's like the
projects
Jets is
as
like
one of those
Morrissey,
guys.
Pionk, like you know what I mean? Like those types of defensive
Yeah.
threats at least.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
guess if you want to get into just a quick bit of forward talk quickly, like
Sure.
Austin Matthews.
Let me just Benoit, like just on him specifically. I didn't notice him. You don't notice Benoit offensively. You don't notice him in transition. It is literally just when we are hemmed in, or not even hemmed, because he does a great job at breaking up the plays.
Yeah.
He really is Luke Shen like. He really is. Because when I watched Luke Shen last year, no one could knock that guy down. No one could knock him around. He's winning
Mhm.
every single puck battle. He's got this long ass stick that he just throws around with one hand and somehow like knocks pucks across the ice with. And
Yep.
Benoit does all the same stuff. I
Yep.
just really have to give him the kudos because I thought it's the best game he played as a Leaf to me, honestly, last night. And like you said,
Also,
um, yeah,
one thing on Benoit quickly, sneaky speed from him. For a big guy, he's got
yeah, like
I'm not gonna say like he's the fastest skater on the team.
no,
For a guy that big, he shouldn't be that quick either.
you put him in a skating like a
Straight
just
line
a
speed,
quick straight line speed against the
he
rest of
holds
the
his
blue
own.
line. He's
He holds
beating
his own.
Gio. He's beating
Yes.
Gio, and he's
I think
probably
beats
like
Jake
neck and
McCabe
neck
as
with
well.
like I was gonna say he's neck and neck with McCabe like it's a coin toss. That's what I
Yeah.
think there. So right, so that's good. That's good. Forward talk. You're bringing up Matthews. What do we got to say about?
Matthews, dude, what else is there to say that we haven't said?
Yeah,
40 goals
yeah.
in, I think that's 46 games right now. The last time he got 40 goals, the time when he hit 60 goals, it took him to game 56 to hit 40 goals. So who knows what type of Austin Matthews we're getting? And that was also the year where he quite literally had 50 in 50, but it was like during the season, so nobody counted it.
Unofficial 50 and 50.
Could we see 50 and 50? I have no idea. Just my last quick forward shout out before we
Super quick.
the break.
Super quick.
Ryan Reeves. Holy hell, what a game. Like
Yeah.
that was a Ryan Gretzky Revo type of performance last night. Guy was
gross tip
unbelievable.
in his hometown. We'll talk about some more after the break. All right, before our break, me and Dave were just talking about Ryan Reeves and the great game he had last night. First time back in the lineup after a while. Between his last game and the one yesterday, we did get some pretty incendiary quotes for him via Luke Fox of Sportsnet. He basically said he hates being a healthy scratch and that he's been healthy for 2 weeks. And he said that his knees don't work and that he can't get out of bed unless he's got knee braces on because he's afraid his knee's going to pop out. I don't really know how you can get a contract when that's the case. But anywho, just last night, Ryan Reeves did look really good. There was one play in the first period. I can't remember who made the pass to him, but it was just a simple breakout, and he couldn't even receive a pass. Like it hit his stick, and it just deflected right off. Like he could not take the pass if his life depended on it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to watch this tonight. And something changed like 5 minutes later. That gross tip off of a Noah Gregor shot totally fools Hellbuck. It would have
That's
fooled any goalie.
that's also off a turnover that he forced as well.
Yes, that was a
Yeah.
great shift from the fourth line. I
Mhm.
thought Gregor had a good game too. So yeah, kudos to Ryan Reeves. Can't really say much else. Shane Doan and Brendan Shanahan also gave him his kudos after the game. I don't know if you saw that. Just in the hall after. I can't remember who tweeted it out, but
Was it the
paraphrasing here.
was it the Shanahan, thanks for making my these past like 2 weeks a living hell for me because of like what you said in the media? Like, is that
It's
what that
really
was?
interesting, yeah, because yeah, I wonder like how that goes over. I wonder who Reeves is directing his kind of
Frustration
frustration
that
to. It could be Keefe, could be Tree Living, could be Shanny.
could be all three.
However, note that I mentioned Doan and Shanny and not Tree Living, so maybe we have the answer. Anywho, let's stay positive. Other than Reeves, I did want to give a forward shout out. Um, and this is basically even before the Bertuzzi goal called back. I thought that entire line was fantastic. I thought it was really, really good. Tavares got rewarded. He got the monkey off his back, 10-game goal, the streak broken. I just thought that whole line was really good last night. I thought they were our best line by far.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Leaf talk. We're obviously going into the All-Star break now. No Leaf games for an entire week. But the All-Star game is in Toronto. Me and Dave are going to do a little bit of predictions here. I think actually before predictions, we should also speak about the fact that we're going to be able to see some of this. On
Yes, yeah, we
Thursday,
will.
we are going to the NHL All-Star Draft, where you've got Nate McKinnon with Tate McRae. We've got
Oh, dude, I was I
yeah,
was
yeah.
just gonna make a Dave
Trust me.
McRae joke.
Hey, we'll
Damn
get
it.
in there. We'll
We'll get
make
there.
lots of Tate McRae with jokes. Matthews and Bieber, McDavid and Will Arnett. Can I just say that's the most like fitting pair because I feel like
Dude,
McDavid's
s-
just
so
McDavid
unassuming, but the two of them.
exactly. McDavid is so he's supposed to be like the face of the league, like the young guy, whatever. But he's got like the old soul to him, right? Like he's older than you would. He acts older than you would
Yeah.
think, right?
My thought for that pairing, let Will Arnett do all of the talking. Don't let McDavid do a single
Just
bit
have
of
McDavid
talking.
nod.
Exactly. Because Will
Yeah,
Arnett is genuinely one of the funniest people on the planet.
yeah,
And he comes up with like his jokes are like this. Like his brain works a mile a minute. Let him do all the talking.
yeah. And who am I forgetting? Oh yeah, Hughes, and Michael Bublé.
Michael
So
Bublé,
yeah, so
noted
those are the four.
Vancouver Canucks fans,
Yes,
noted
yes.
Vancouver Canuck fan Michael Bublé.
So those are the four teams and their captains and their coaches. They're going to be drafting on Thursday night. Me and Dave will be there. It's going to be really cool to see. And there's also the PWHL 3-on-3 showcase same night. There's something else I'm forgetting there too. I
Yeah,
think it's like alumni man of the year or something like that.
the 1967 the
Oh,
last
okay.
good year of the
Oh
Maple
God.
Leafs are being
Okay.
honored. So you could just imagine the types of memes that are going to come out of that situation. They are going to be
Dave, even just us like with people we're going with, we're going to be hearing
yeah.
a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
100%.
So yeah, we got that, and then Friday is the skills competition. Saturday is the All-Star game. We're gonna go back a little bit though. But let's talk about the draft. Let's do some predicting here. Dave, who is gonna get the rare honor? Not rare because it happens every time there's a draft, but the dubious honor, not the Kyle dubious honor either. The dubious honor of being picked last. Who is it
Okay.
gonna be? Who is it
So
gonna be?
the way that me and you had this discussion before the podcast started, we had
Yeah,
like an idea of how we thought it would go. And Christian and mine's viewpoint
thought
on the
process.
situation is quite different. So I think the last player to be selected, like I don't know if you remember a few years ago when it was like Phil Kessel when he
That was
was
you don't know how mad I was as a kid watching that. I
yeah,
watched that entire draft and I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna do this to Phil. No, no,
yeah.
and I also swear I could have sworn Phil was not the only Leaf in that All-Star draft. I could have sworn it was either Phaneuf or Joffrey Lupo was also
Dude,
in that.
no idea how anybody else made it in with some like
I'm
with some of
telling
the
you, there
talents
was
that we
someone
had.
else too, bro. I'm telling
Holy,
you. Yeah.
There definitely could have been, but it's because it was Phil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Phil
Do you
is
remember if it was it Kessel and Jeff Skinner? Were those the final two? I feel like it
uh
was Kessel and Jeff Skinner.
I wouldn't be able.
And it was a rookie Jeff Skinner.
Yeah,
It
I
was
wouldn't be able to
baby
tell
face.
you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to tell you who the
Uh
last person was. So my thought going into this, like I'm picking out memories from my past, like that's gonna be a meme that lives in his history. Like
there's
anytime
another
we
one
talk
we're
about
forgetting though too.
Ovi as well, right?
That's the good
Yeah.
one. That's
So
the other
so
really good one.
I think, you get the All-Star game in Toronto, it's gonna have to be a meme. So I think it's gonna be one of like the Leafs boogeymen are gonna get that type of treatment. So on the list we have Jeremy Swayman from Boston, we have David Pastrnak from Boston. I think it's just Kucherov from the Lightning. I don't see I guess Vasily's not going to be there because he hasn't played
Yeah.
most of the season. So
Who's our
I'm
Florida guys? It's Bobrovsky. It's
Bobrovsky.
Bobrovsky and
Oh, Bobrovsky
Reinhart.
and Reinhardt. It could be okay. So there it is. Any five of those names, just for the memes alone, I'm leaning towards Boston because Boston and Toronto. Listen, the NHL is gonna get clicks, like so many clicks. If it's like a Boston guy getting drafted last in Toronto, and then it's like David Pastrnak and he scores like a hat trick on Matthews' team, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something ridiculous like that. But our thought processes are definitely not the same. So, Christian, who do you think is
Okay.
going to be the last player picked?
Before I go into that, I'm just thinking of this as well. Is there any shot that it's a Leaf that's picked last because Austin's in the draft? Like, would he leave one of the boys hanging?
I don't think so. I
Like,
think if
unless he was in on it and like, because
yeah,
I'm
unless
trying to think
he
like the
has,
Nylander one. Like, you could do Willie last because you could be like, oh, look at Mister Moneybags here. We're gonna
yeah,
leave it. Like, you could do that.
I
And
think
then I was
if
thinking Marner,
Mitch
and I'm like,
Marner is on the
that actually
board,
might bruise his
yeah,
ego a bit.
if Mitch Marner
Yeah,
is on the board when Austin Matthews is able to pick, Austin Matthews will be picking Mitch Marner.
yeah. So it's not happening. And
I don't think so.
Morgan Riley is too good of a guy to leave last. I
Yeah,
think
what are
it's
you
just
gonna
as simple
do?
as that. Like, I think,
I've met the dude. The dude is so cool. How are you gonna leave
yeah.
him to be the last pick?
So
Come on. There's
that's not an option.
another obligatory me meeting Morgan Riley. It's gonna come up definitely more often in the future. Like,
Yeah,
don't be surprised.
yeah. Okay. My thought process was a lot more simple. I was just like, yo, who is the worst dudes on this list? Who is someone that like the captains like might legitimately forget he exists? Um, and so there's a couple of names on here. There's like Frank Vetrano, Boone Jenner. There was another one that I had come up with. Okay, this other one though is not forgetful. This is one where it's like he is the only not enforcer because he's more than that, but he is
Good
the only
grinder.
rough and tough, grit grinding player in here, and it's Mr. Tom Wilson. There's like Brady Tkachuk is in there, but like Tom Wilson is that guy
Yeah.
that none of the captains have an affiliation with. That I think they might be like, okay, he's a Toronto dude. He's done some stuff. We can keep him at the bottom. I
See
could see that.
the thing with Tom Wilson is that he has never done any like I could have put him on the list as well, but he's never done anything so egregious with the Leafs, like playing the Leafs or whenever,
Yeah.
that I don't think it would be a meme if Tom Wilson's the one that gets selected last. But at the same time, I could also see it happening as well. Like I'm in two minds there. So that is a very, very good pick.
And there's like Oliver Bjorkstrand is a guy I could see.
He
And
is
then
a
the other
guy, that's
one,
for sure.
yeah, he's guy status, right? Could they do it to Crosby? Could he be the meme? Could they make Crosby sit the entire thing out? I could see it. I
Oh,
could see it,
dude,
man.
that would be really
Yeah,
good. I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie. Listen, I love Sid. I've grown up loving Sid. If they
yeah.
do that to Crosby at age 37 or 38,
But like,
whatever he is,
I think you would find it really funny. Like, I
dude,
think he would enjoy that.
I think Sid would just be
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
let me go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do the
So,
Alex
yo, because
Ovechkin, like let me, I want the car,
yeah,
basically. I don't know if they're gonna give away a car this time either. They should, because
yeah.
that was the
I don't.
best part. I
It
love
was
that.
really good. Okay. Here's the other thing though. Like he has two of his like most connected buddies as captains. Like McDavid and Crosby will always be connected, and then McKinnon and Crosby.
Yeah.
Like I I don't know.
Mm.
I would love to see it.
I
I
don't
would
think
love
so.
to see it. I like.
But
I'm good.
oh,
Okay, I don't know if I can make a pick, but I'm going to say I'm hoping it's Crosby to see how that unfolds because I think it
okay.
would be really funny, and we need funny stuff in the NHL. So Crosby is
Look,
my hopeful
I
pick.
want to make that a shared pick because I would love to see
Okay,
that. But my
okay,
genuine pick is going to be like David Pasternak or no,
okay.
it is. What did I say before? I said the name. Shit.
Pasternak, Bobrovsky.
No, I know, but
Um,
I'm gonna pick one of the five. It's gonna be I don't know. Let's say it's Sergey. I'm gonna say it's Sergey just because he
okay,
stonewalled us.
okay. So I like those picks. Okay, other predictions here. We're gonna move to the All Star comp. It's a different format this year. It's actually a format that I'm pretty stoked about, and one that I think could like really not revolutionize, but bring interest back into the weekend as a whole going forward. I'm just going to give a rundown of the format here for anyone who's not familiar. We've got 12 players competing for points in 8 events. Each player competes in 4 of the first 6, and then the top 8 point earners move on to the 7th event. And after that, they eliminate 2 more. So you end up with 6 players in the 8th event. And then the player with the most points after 8 events wins $1 million. I believe they get half, and the other half goes to a charity of their choosing. The 8 events are the fastest skater, hardest
Love
shot,
that.
stick handling, one timers, passing challenge, accuracy shooting, shootout, and then obstacle course. If I did have to have some qualms here, I like I'm gonna have to see what this obstacle course looks like in reality and the shootout because I feel like those shouldn't be the final events. Like I don't know if that's a finale event. I think a finale event should probably have been one of the staples, like maybe not
Hardest
fastest
shot.
skater, but I think the perfect one for finale was accuracy.
Accuracy. I like that.
Because
I
you
would have
like
gone like maybe
anyone can
hardest
win that.
shot there. I
Hardest shot,
guess.
but like there's favorites and then
Yeah.
there's underdogs. Accuracy shooting, any player can I think win on any given day.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that would have been that's my only qualm with this, but I really like the format they're going with. And who knows, maybe the obstacle course is done like really well.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll run down the list of our options here because there's 12 options to choose from. We've got Pasternak, McKinnon, Makar, Draisaitl, McDavid, Jack Hughes, who I don't know if he's still going to be in it because I think he's injured. I think he's like 50-50 if he's going to play in it. Kucherov, Matthews, Nylander, Pedersen, JT Miller, Quinn Hughes. Who are we going with here, Dave?
Oh, so
If
man,
Hughes isn't
it
in,
is
I like if Jack Hughes isn't in, I'm really hoping they put Crosby in there. Just saying.
okay. I still don't think I think regardless, that doesn't switch my pick. Like, how can you bet against Connor McDavid? Like, you,
I
you
that
know?
as like okay, unless he dominates and like it's like just a crazy showing, that's probably the result I want the least, to be honest.
Yeah, I
Right?
100%. But I still don't think you could bet against Connor McDavid. Like, we know his skills, right? Like, they're not like any of those events, are they not tailored towards him, basically, right? Like he
Oh
does
yeah.
everything so well that any of them, you're like, probably Connor, right? But also like let's say for fun's sake, I would love to see like if it's Austin or Willie in front of like the hometown crowd, I would love to see it, especially if it's like I love Austin, but especially if it's like Mr. Cool Guy, Willie Styles.
I honestly like I think Willie can win it, and he is
I
my
think
pick to win it.
here's the
He is
thing.
my pick.
There are 12 players and none of them have
12 of the
not
best,
none of them have not the
right?
ability, like there are no long shots here. If you said to me
Yeah.
Jack Hughes is playing, he's injured but he's going to win, I'd be like, yeah, that makes complete sense. Like I get it.
Yeah.
If you're going to sit here and tell me Nikita Kucherov will just mop the floor with everybody, I'd be like, yeah, I get it. That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So there I think this is the very seldom there are no wrong answers in here. My pick will be Connor McDavid. I think that is the safest option, and I like to be right. And I think I might be. but I could also be wrong. Like I have no idea. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going Willie. I really do think he can do it. I think he's got the finesse, he's got the speed, he's got the edges like almost nobody else in the NHL. Like you said, these guys are all elite of the elite. So it is definitely a toss up, but I will be cheering for my boy Willie. Obviously,
Yep.
my boy Austin. I'm
Yep.
gonna throw my support behind Willie for this one, and I think he can pull through.
Very
Um,
underrated. The only D on here, Kale McCarr.
oh, Quinn Hughes too. Quinn Hughes too.
Oh, yes, right.
But still, like those
That is very
guys,
true.
they're defensemen in everything but name, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so it's gonna be really cool. Quick tangent, because I'm just
yep.
thinking about like the future sustainability of this event. I really hope there's not player fatigue from this, because if you do this event or this style every year and you want the best 12 players, you're going to get a lot of overlap from year to year. Like, how much does this list change from this year to next year?
None. I don't think really any.
No, it's really tough.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can run out the same 12 players every single year. It's going to be tough. So I will, that's the one thing that I just thought about that I'll be really curious to see how they go about keeping the event fresh and maybe having to change up some of the players, but without it feeling
Yeah.
like this is manufactured and this isn't a real showcase of the best. So
I
that's something I
think
just thought about.
I think if I'm it's so tough to say because like I want to say like I want to see Crosby and I want to see
I
Crosby
really
in
want
here
to see Crosby,
100%. Uh
Bedard.
but who are you getting rid of that like I my first thing is
So, well,
JT
here's what's
Miller.
gonna happen. Like whoever's hosting next year, they're gonna get
Yeah.
one or two guys in. So
Yeah.
that's I don't remember
I
who's
get it.
hosting next year, to be honest.
No idea.
Yeah. So you got that. There's always players who have a crazy year. Like you said, JT Miller's one who's having a crazy year. Maybe he doesn't
Mhm.
have another crazy year. So I think you'll get some change, but you basically always want McKinnon, McDavid, McCarr, Draisaitl, Matthews,
Matthews.
Bedard. You want them in basically
That's seven
every
right
year
there,
that you can,
right?
right? And like, yeah, so Pasta, you tell me Pasta's not getting in that, right?
Cooch.
So yeah, like it that accounts for a lot of the spots already.
Yeah.
So that's one
No,
thing I don't
100%.
know if they've
See,
thought too much about.
I think there are more buy-ins from the players right now. I think that is a problem maybe five and not maybe not next year, but 5 years down the line, that is going to be the problem. And also 5 years prior to this, I think was the last time we saw, or maybe a little bit longer, maybe like 7 or 8, we saw a draft happen. So maybe that's just what it
Yeah.
is. There's a short lifespan. Maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 7 years, where you're like, okay, we're gonna go
Yeah.
back to this other system that have been calling for, and we're gonna do that for another 7 years. And you're able to just kind of like recycle, because then in 7 years from now, you probably don't have maybe like half of that list is on
Yeah.
it, or maybe like 3 or 4 of those names are on it, and you get
The
other
other way they
guys.
could go about it is just like make a rule that you can't compete back to back years except
Okay,
for the champion. Because then you could
I
go
like
with
that.
the theme is the champion's got 7 newcomers trying to steal the title from him. Let's see, like, or sorry, like 11 newcomers. Like you
Yeah.
could do that. So
Okay.
that's one I just thought of right now. Because then you put in a rule, so it doesn't feel like like it is
Or
manufactured, but you give a decent reason for why there isn't players in the
how
same back
how
to
about
back.
this? For the I think it's the last event, it's 6 guys, right? How
Yeah,
about everybody who makes it to that event, to the final
I like that
six?
too. Yeah,
And okay, you get your champion in there, so you get six. You would end up having 6 new competitors,
yeah,
5 people who are returning, and then your champion, and everybody's trying to think.
yeah.
Maybe that's the way that we go for it.
I do like that. So real quick, I've got Crosby as the last drafted guy. Dave's got Bobrovsky. Dave also has McDavid winning the skills comp. I've got Willie. We'll see who's right. And maybe we can get some of Brian's answers in between this episode and next, and maybe he gets it right.
Yep.
So that's that for this episode 62 of PuckPod by BD Sports. Shout out to Razor. Shout out to Fubo. Shout out to NHL Shop. What kind of jersey are we buying today, Dave?
I forget who we said. There
Oh,
was
I what am I saying? Where can you get a Calgary Flames Tate McRae jersey?
Tate McRae. I'm gonna be shouting her name
It's an
so
inside joke,
loud.
but we've just been talking a lot about Tate
Yeah,
McRae at
she's
the
so
All-Star
pretty.
game at
She is
school.
so
So
pretty. She's
yeah,
beautiful.
she's fine looking. Yeah.
Nah, listen,
No, no, no,
you're
no.
selling her short. You're selling her short
Oh,
there.
oh, 100%. No,
Yeah,
she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. Drop dead.
yeah,
Um,
drop dead.
and me and Dave will be seeing her, so we'll give you our thoughts about that next
Yeah,
week with
pretty.
Brian.
I'll give you my early thought. Pretty.
Early returns. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for
All
this one.
righty.
See you next week.